Maybe I can. Hold on. Now I can hear you. Yeah, my internet took a shit. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's gonna be time to start yammering right now. Three, two, one, go.
Welcome, racing fans, to Daytona International Speedway, the world's center of racing. For the Racers Elite Cup race on the High Bank Superspeedway, just a short drive for NASCAR. The engines are roaring, the tires are smoking, and the competition is fierce. Tonight, we'll witness the very best sim racers in the world battle it out for glory. So let's get ready to race. I'm Dave Regal alongside my brother from another mother, Mr. Alan Bergen, and we'll be with you through it all from the green flag to the checkered flag right here on Sim Racing Media. And here we are once again, Alan. Together again, we are like Fozzie and Kermit at this point.
Yeah, hey, look, even our broadcasts every once in a while get Matt Metlered.
And tonight it seems like he's actually in the field, or at least he was a moment ago.
Yeah, he's in the field, but hey, I'm ready to go. I know you're ready to go, so I'm ready to get the party started.
Got my little sidekick with me tonight as she's here tonight. This is my daughter Harmony. So if you hear anything goofy, that's her. But you know, Alan, as we get settled in here for this race at Daytona, I mean, you know, this is a one-off, and we're going to see some really familiar faces, especially for those of you that tune in with us on a Thursday night right here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, we've got the likes of Andrew Teft, we've got Truth Hoke, Noah Hamilton. I mean, there are a lot of different drivers here tonight that we generally get to see as we're ready to start running through the starting lineup.
Yeah, and I'm actually working on getting that up for you right now, Dave.
Starting on the pole position tonight, going to be Andrew Teft in the 98. He'll be joined on the front row by Chris Davis. Truth Hoke in the 55 going to start on the inside of row number 2, while Brandon Beckstead is going to be on the inside of row number 3 alongside Jonathan Dominique. Chris Evans and Randy Sprouse going to be in row number 4, while row 5 and your starting top 10 is going to be rounded out by Josh Burrick and Matthew Jarrett. We move on here into row number 6 with Colin McDonough and Nathan Strauss, while Brian Lapratt and Alex Teft going to be in row number 7. Row number 8 features Kirby Wainscott and Joel Brooks, while Nicholas Falsetta and Matt Metler are partner here at Logan Joyner and Jaden Wicks going to be in row number 13, while row 14 going to have Troy Thomas and Richard Ode. Kyle Hess and Kensley Smith. And my screen just got very tiny. Here it is. Terry Fennell, Kevin Mispaka, Stephen Hins, and Amir Salah now has gone to the rear of the field. Now I've got to quick get things turned back here. You ready, baby? You ready, sis? We're going to do the thing. Little girl sitting behind me said that it's time to get ready to rock and roll here as drivers get themselves all kinds of gridded up. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out, which means that we'll be getting ready to go green flag racing momentarily. Alan, this is the moment that these drivers have been waiting all week for. Is here it all comes down to Sunday night in a one-off race at Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're here. You know, the cars and stars are here. So, like I said, let's get this thing going.
And the party going to begin right here on the sands of good old Daytona as the iRacing.com pace car leads us here into turn number 3. We see Andrew Teft and Chris Davis just ahead of Truth Hoke and Noah Hamilton. These are 4 of the drivers that we see so often together in the Cup Series on a Thursday night. And folks, I encourage you to tune in on another new season coming at you this way in just a few days. As we come out of turn number 4, getting past the Sunoco race fuel sign, the iRacing.com pace car gets ready to make the hard left turn down pit road. That means, folks, that the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, call a friend, and settle in. Race fans, it's showtime! Green flag in the air as these drivers are going to get themselves stacked up here into 2 lanes. And I'll tell you what, the best part about super speedway racing is that you never know what's going to happen next. I mean, you know, you go to a regular mile and a half, of course, our bread and butter in the NASCAR circuit, and you can see somebody really get, you know, ahead of the field and start to lead some laps. But here, especially in the Cup Series, you don't really have much of a choice but to start getting behind somebody and, you know, trying to make some kind of headway.
Yeah, absolutely. And as, well, here we are, right here at the start, and these guys are going to be on the north side of crazy.
Yeah, these drivers have been, you know, trying to get things settled in here all week long, and they finally come in here to a Saturday night. I almost said Sunday night, but of course, that's for tomorrow. And of course, you folks know tomorrow night is the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, Sunday, Southern 500, you know, I can't wait for that one. I'm excited for it. But nonetheless, you know, we have 35 cars sick time. And right now, Randy Spruce is up, you know, 18 spots from where we started from. So,
yeah, you can make a lot of progress in a short period of time here, especially on the restarts. And as we work lap number 3 of 80 here, it's important to take note where everybody is at this moment, because in the next few seconds, that could all change drastically. Right now, big move in the race belongs to Kensley Smith, who's running in 20th position. He started this piece back. Now works his way into 20th position.
yeah, so, you know, here's the thing is there's a lot of drivers from a lot of different leagues. You know, Chris Davis that normally runs on Sunday Night NASCAR, who we are very familiar with out of the Beast Mode stage, or Beast Mode stable. And then you got Noah Hamilton right there in fourth. These guys, you know, and here's the thing, and I was talking to Matt Metler on off air about this. These guys are top split guys all day long. You can put them anywhere and they'll probably win. And then you got, you know, the guys that we watch here on Thursday nights, Tuesday nights, and Wednesday nights with Andrew Teft and Truth Hoke. They're in the top 10. They're doing a pretty solid job right now.
Yeah, you know, one of the most important things to remember here, especially at Daytona, is how much work that you're doing right now. Is if we could go on board here with Andrew Teft, who's running right now in 8th position. We go on board, and you can see just how much work he's got, you know, as he looks around himself. I mean, at this stage in the race, you think to yourself, do you want to try to be up front? There's almost no safe place unless you're all by your lonesome ahead of everybody else or behind everybody else. Because one false move, and we can see a little bit of looseness here out of Chris Evans in the EcoBoost number 60. And I'll tell you what, right now he's kind of wobbling back and forth on the racetrack. And that's got to be an uneasy feeling, especially if you're the 81 of Zach Burke, who now drafts his way up here. We see Andrew Teft starting to back off just a little bit for the time being, and maybe he's trying to give some kind of room to the 11. He sees something he doesn't like, and stepping out of line right now is the 81 and now the 56, and that 56 is piloted by Nathan Strauss.
So hey, look, I gotta bring this up. Matt Butler says that you will know this paint scheme once I find the one I'm looking for. Anyways, Matt Butler, 311 car. The Excitables.
Oh no! See now, for all I knew, right now, at least on my screen, it looks like he's got beast mode performance under the hood. 3 wide. Speaking of Mettler, take a look at the 5 car of TJ Elaine. Oh, this is gonna be hairy. I've widened things out of my own screen to the blimp cam. 3 wide, and TJ, the meat in this sandwich between, it looks like Andrew Teft and now Matt Mettler, as he's kind of wobbling between both. He hasn't been gobbled up by the draft yet, and here he goes, as he's going to have to find a place to parallel park that 5 car to get out of Dodge, as he's trying almost to side draft. There it is. A little bit of a side draft next to the 15, and that 15 is Kensley Smith. Oh my, this is going to get ugly yet.
So yeah, if you said that Matt Butler's got beast mode underneath the hood of that car, you're exactly right.
Beast mode performance it is, of course, famous in the SNN Cup Series, and now falling back is the 5 car. He's got to find a place to go. He might be trying to slide in right behind Brandon Honeycutt in the 13, but for the time being, he's at least gotten himself to a reasonable place on the racetrack where he's not going to do any damage to anyone. I head on back up here to the lead, and right now, Randy Sprouse leads this thing as he's just to the high side of Chris Davis in the 74 and drafting just ahead of Matthew Jarrett. And now Davis in the 74 getting a push from the 24 of Noah Hamilton. I almost said Richard Pruitt, but that's the wrong lead. Is now the... Can you tell that we call too many of these together, Alan? As we now draft our way down the backstretch. This is just getting exciting. Look at the 15 back here. All of a sudden, I just turned into Chris Collinsworth. Look at the 15 of Kensley Smith back here. He shoots to the high side. He puts Mettler in the middle, and the 55 of Truth Hoke holding on for dear life down below.
Oh my! Look, I would be holding on for dear life down below. If I'm the guy in the middle, I'm white knuckling the steering wheel. I'd be white knuckling that steering wheel like nobody's business.
Now we watch Kensley Smith in the 15. He's starting to get a little bit closer now to the 56. That's Nathan Strauss. That high line, that's where a lot of this speed is going to be locked up in this race. And the high line kind of becomes what I refer to as the shovel line. You can shovel one another up to the lead, and then you drop down to the low side, but getting a great run here. On the exit of turn 4 is the 74 of Chris Davis and Matthew Jarrett, who now leads this piece. What a good push he got from the 74. That's definitely orchestrated. These drivers have tested that out before. We look further back here in the field, and it seems like pretty much everybody is content with going 2 wide for the time being. And now, right now, last here, looks like that would be the 5 of TJ Elaine. So basically, there are 21 cars side by side, 20 cars now as the 39 starts to drop back to the front of Dean Clavitt here in the 90 machine.
I mean, look, who would have thought on Labor Day weekend, on an 80-lap race, we would have drawn 35 cars with nothing on the line except for pride and bragging rights.
I can tell you I didn't have it on my bingo card.
Well, look, I told Matt, I said, Dave's probably got a bottle of malt liquor sitting next to him.
No, I have a gallon of Deer Park water.
Oh, boy.
Dave is on daddy duty all weekend long, and I am glad to be such. Plus, I'm on call for the real world job, so there is absolutely... You are getting Dave uninhibited.
Uninhibited, but nonetheless,
Consider
right?
this a special Saturday night. It's a special race for the Racers Elite Cup Series, and it's a special night here in the broadcast booth. Dave's working sober. But what can I say? You know, when I see that we needed coverage for this, I could not resist to sit alongside of you. As we see the 46 of... Whoa, there goes! The 46 of the 11 make contact. Here we go.
And it just popped off.
First wreck of the night, and we're still green.
Hey, that's the way it happens.
If the field just wrecked and somehow we're still green.
Race control's falling asleep up there. Meanwhile, back at the top of the board here, Matthew Jarrett, Chris Davis, and Noah Hamilton has a 3-car breakaway. There's no one around them right now.
That'll be fixed shortly. 12 laps in the books here for the Racers Elite Cup Series, and I can't believe that was not a caution. I just watched the replay here on my screen, and that easily could have been the first caution of the night.
But it wasn't. So look, at Talladega, they were 4 wide last time at Talladega. I mean, anything can happen, right?
I mean, anything can happen on any given night on iRacing.com. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in and making us a part of your Saturday night right here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Yours truly, just outside the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Alan Bergen in the city of Sin, St. Louis, Missouri, home of Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch, and the St. Louis Cardinals.
By the way, we're on the cusp of firing the manager, hopefully.
Look, it's getting to that time of year where you kind of fire the manager, you see what somebody from the bench has to do. As I'm looking here at Nathan Mon, deeper in the field, first of all, Colin McDonough is starting to fall like a rock. He's looking for a place to get into line so he doesn't lose the draft. He may slide him right in front of Truth Hoke. He doesn't, as Mon now just ahead of the 34 of Logan Joyner. And side by side at the back of this thing is Truth Hoke and the 101 of Brian LaPratte.
You know, side by side is really not what you want there, but, you know, look. Side by side is not really what you want, but you're going to be that way. And you got to, if you're back to back, you want to work together and get caught up because, you know, with the Racers Elite, we've seen time in and time out, it's really hard once you get behind to get caught up.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, and you know, I know that we experienced this last Sunday in, of course, the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. Yours truly was in the race. That was a lot of fun here at Daytona, but, you know, once that race starts to go green flag for such a long period of time like we are here, especially after a near disaster, you know, you start to see these smaller packs break themselves out. Here's Kensley Smith, Matt Metler, and Kirby Wainscott. These, I would have to call the usual suspects. Number one, Matt Metler, super speedway whisperer.
Well, yeah, it's the only place where we don't wreck at. If you're myself and Matt Metler and Alexander Gangler, gotta give a shout out to him, last week's winner at the Infinity side.
Yeah, I mean, Gangler, listen, I that was probably one of the few times that I have had all but a stroke on the air. Because, you know, listen, I love Matt Metler. He is my brother, and I appreciate everything that he and I get to do together. And if he ever gets himself into victory lane, I may be on the floor. Keep an aspirin nearby. You know, and Alexander Gangler has spent such a long time in the SNN family of racing series, you know, between being race control and then coming to the racing side, and he replaced yours truly. As he came out of the race control booth, I stepped into the broadcast booth full time, and he took over my 8 car. And, you know, so to see my 8 car hit victory lane in such fine fashion, I mean, I was screaming. I was excited. I really looked like Kermit the Frog. I just had 2 hands over top of my head waving like a clown.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing, too. Here's the thing, too. So, you know, as these guys are racing hard, I was watching the real life NASCAR race on last Saturday. I'm like, dude, if I ever get a victory and then Dave's in the booth, it's gonna be like Jeff Burton.
Call an ambulance.
Call an ambulance.
You know what? And that's a certain level of pride for somebody like Jeff Burton. I mean, you know, it's kind of like back in the day when Dale Jarrett won his 500 with his dad up in the broadcast booth. You know, you have to start to think about that in the family sense. It's the same as watching your kid hit his first home run in Little League, or something to that effect, especially when you do it on NASCAR's biggest stage right here at the World Center of Racing just off of Nova Road in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Yeah, exactly. And, right now, Matthew Jarrett up 25 spots, leading this piece here. And, look, it's the same story. Chris Davis, Noah Hamilton. These are the absolute stars of the SNN Stacy Strong Cup Series. And then you got Kinsley Smith mired here back in that fourth position. Just, he's bringing Matt Mettler and Colonel Kirby Wainscott with him. And just a little bit further back, well, you got Brandon Honeycutt at the tail end of the small little four group there. And they're slowly catching up to Jarrett, Davis, and Hamilton.
Well, and you know that the conversation on race radio right now is stay tight, stay in a line, stay organized, because that's the only way that you're going to make up any of this distance. Right now, taking a look here at the 51 of Pete Polini and TJ Elaine in the 5. I mean, that nickel is going to need all kinds of a push from the 51. As we work here on lap number 20, we're already a quarter of the way through this race, and these drivers have not given up any kind of real estate intentionally yet. We've seen some drivers slide back just a little bit, maybe to keep themselves out of the line of fire. We had a near disaster already, but here we are on lap 20, and breaking away from the 56 is TJ Elaine and Pete Polini, as they have really got their act together now. Of course, now as I say that, the 56 is going to get a run on the outside here, and he's going to bring along the 90 of Dean Clavitt.
Yeah, we're on board here with Nathan Struss and that number 56, and well, there goes the number 90 of Dean Clavitt. It looks like the 56 car got back out to the wide shot, and there it is.
First caution of the night, and it looks like this may have started somewhere in and around maybe Brian LaPlatte. Oof. Dean Clavitt. Let's see if Dean Clavitt was doing something crazy here. Go right here to where Dean Clavitt, yep, here it comes. You're going to want to watch that right from the 5.
Okay. Oh, that's a sinking feeling, Dave.
That's not how you wanted your night at Daytona to go. And that's definitely no way to dance. Talk about stepping on your partner's shoes.
Well, guess what? That lead that Matthew Jarrett and Chris Davis and Noah Hamilton had, it went away.
Well, but I'll tell you what, whether that lead goes away or not, the one thing that it does is it when we rack and restack here in just a few moments, that's going to bring a lot of excitement to these drivers who kind of got themselves separated. I know as a driver who gets, in one of these smaller packs that kind of hangs back and stays out of the line of fire, it does make the adrenaline pump just a little bit harder through your veins when that green flag flies and all of a sudden you are right back in the mess.
Well, working caution number 1 here on lap 22 is we couldn't avoid disaster here. But last night, in the truck race at Talladega, they were going 4 wide almost, and talk about white knuckle ride. That was white
knuckled and puckered.
Well, hey,
Here they come for wholesale pit stops. Matthew Jarrett going to lead the way in the Mountain Dew. Looks like the live wire paint scheme. As he's going to slide into the old pit box, I'm sure that we're going to see him take fuel. I think this is going to be a fuel-only stop. One of the race notes that I had read earlier in the week regarding some of the setups and things here at Daytona, we have to remember that, tire grip here is not as much of a factor as we see at some of the other racetracks that we go to. That being said, oh, wow, Chris Davis just beat the 80 off of pit road. Matt Mettler comes out third. I get him up here.
We can do that.
You're darn right we can.
We can absolutely do that.
But, now when you get yourself restarted, you're going to keep those same tire grips. And right now with me in the broadcast booth, Matt Metler. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Dave, what's going on, brother?
Buddy, right now, you're what's going on. You're going to be restarting P3. You've had a pretty successful night so far, up 15 spots from where you had qualified in the Beast Mode Performance 311. What are you feeling there behind the wheel of this machine?
Well, first of all, I got to shout out Chris Davis for coming over and running this race, and Brandon Bikey for loaning me this paint scheme. Dave, as you remember from the Moonshiners Racing League, I used to love this race car, this scheme, and he was so graciously letting me drive it tonight, so I'm trying to do these guys proud. So far, it's been a very eventful out there on the racetrack. I got really lucky and missed that first incident that didn't throw a caution flag, and then was able to just Daytona things happen. I got hooked up with the 15. We were able to make a lot of ground up, before that caution sequence there. Executed really good on pit roads. So we're just going to try to keep it going, keep our nose clean, and see how we wind up when all is said and done.
Yeah, that first incident, I really expected to see the caution flag fly, and it seemed like anybody who was on the racetrack was just by sheer dumb luck facing the proper direction, and anybody that was faced backwards, sideways, or anything else was down on the apron. So that's why that didn't bring the caution out, as now I see a couple of drivers scurrying away to get that lap back. They're going to have to work hard here. But listen, get that 311 into victory lane. I already told Alan, if you get into victory lane tonight, I'm going to need an aspirin because I'm going to have a full-on heart attack.
I'll do my best for you, brother. You always call a great race up top. Thanks for being here. And also got to shout out Andrew Teft as well for putting these things on. Really appreciate everything you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you. And for folks that are excited to be with us tonight, you can tune in with Matt Metler and myself tomorrow night in the SNN Cup Series booth, of course, here on Sim Racing Media. So make sure that you tune in tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern Time to hang out with Matt and I. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dave. Have a great rest of the broadcast, buddy.
It's always fun talking to Matt.
Listen, there are people who have there are people who have stumbled into your life over the years that, you think, oh, they're going to be here for a season, and then all of a sudden they just get ingrained in you. And Metler is one of those people. You are in that same league, sir. And I appreciate all of the stuff that we get to do together. And even when it's in a pinch, I know that you've covered for me, and now it's my turn to return the favor.
Well,
as we get ready to go back green flag racing. Speaking of coverage, we're going to have to talk about that later because we've got some big stuff going on in the month of October here on Sim Racing Media. So keep your ears and eyes peeled for that as the iRacing.com pace car brings us out of turn number 4. Gets ready to make the hard left turn down pit road. Now Chris Davis going to have control of the field. He's got Matt Metler pushing from behind Matthew Jarrett. On the high side, we hit the Geico restart zone, and we're back underway.
Back to green flag racing. Chris Davis and Matt Metler working together, getting those beast mode Toyotas to the front. And here we go. Lap 25. Chris Davis and Matt Metler doing a little breakaway here. Come on, Joyner. Logan Joyner in that 34 car. Paying homage to Dale Sr. and Kevin Harvick. Here it is. Oh my goodness. I mean, look, when you see the white Jim Goodwrench car, is that technically Dale Sr. or are we paying homage to Kevin Harvick when he took the car over?
That's the Harv.
That's the Harv. Okay, look.
When, here's the thing. On that day that they had to come out, and, first off, February 18th, 2001 was the day that changed NASCAR forever. And, Kevin Harvick was literally the winner of the right place, right time. And really, I think he was also the right driver for that because he wasn't an established Cup driver. It was somebody who was promoted as now the 34 of Logan Joyner gets pushed ahead, but now that shovel line starting to get one heck of a run here as the 80 and the 15 now make a run to the front. That's Matthew Jarrett and Kensley Smith. Kensley Smith gets Jarrett out there. Jarrett's going to do what every racer should do. bring along your drafting partner. We didn't see, Jarrett drop down in front of the 34. He maintains that high line position as he wants to be able to bring along as many of his helpers as he can. And it looks like right now that number becomes Kensley Smith and Dean Clavitt. And now we look to the 31 of Nick Gowan, who's also behind Kensley Smith. So maybe the 80 is trying to get another little group here and take a run. Here they come out of 2 and down the back chute. What a good push from the 15. A lap car in the way. Oy vey.
Oh, we got a yellow
and
flag.
And caution is out. And that puts Matthew Jarrett and Kensley Smith 1-2. But anyway, Kevin Harvick was just, I think it was the right choice for Richard Childress when he had to come out and make that announcement. Again, he was not an established Cup driver stepping into Dale's seat. He was a young man who was looking for a break, and there it was right in front of him. And I just think that he was right place, right time.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. What better driver, like you said, and not only that, but he didn't have the distraction of that event happening because he was laser focused on winning an Xfinity title back then, Busch Grand National title, and B, it was still Dale Jr.'s or Dale Sr.'s crew until that 2002 season when he could bring his crew chief over and everything.
Yeah, and the other thing is he was a wild card at that point. He wasn't as a not so established driver. We didn't know what to expect out of Kevin Harvick. We didn't know if that team was suddenly going to take a nosedive or if they were going to do great things. It kind of reminds me of that scene in Harry Potter where they hand the wand over to Potter and he goes, "You're going to do great things." Nobody could have guessed that, period.
No one, you couldn't write a script saying at Atlanta, your third race in, you're going to win and you're going to be, and you're going to win in such a close margin.
Third race replacing the driver of the number 3. Is it fate?
If you think about it, though, Kevin Harvick did do the testing on the car, so if he knew the car that he was getting into, it would be Kevin Harvick, so it was a choice that made sense.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is, for it to happen here at Daytona, especially, when Fox Sports was literally in their inaugural broadcast for NASCAR, there could not have been fewer eyes on this race. Good Lord, everybody was watching what Fox was doing. And to their credit, Fox also, after getting through the mess and the nightmare that was the death of Dale Earnhardt, they really transformed the way that we watch NASCAR today. Their graphics packages, their production style, and things like that. They brought Chris Myers over from the football and baseball booth to give them some credibility for pre-race. The Hollywood Hotel. The stuff that they did, it was like a circus around Fox, and a race just happened to break out.
Right. Chris only cared. Chris only kidded because he cared.
That's fine. Listen, Chris Myers was unashamedly there to get paid.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But we do want to thank everybody for making Sim Racing Media and the Racers Elite Cup Series your entertainment destination here on a Saturday night. As like Dave Regal says, you're with myself, Alan Bergen, Dave Regal, and we have no life.
Yeah, Saturday night. Here we are. Us and 35 of our closest friends. Here it is a Saturday night. Somebody's wife has to be standing right next to the master switch for their computer tower.
Well,
he's in the mood and he's in the lead,
Oh boy.
30 laps in the books here at Daytona International Speedway. Matthew Jarrett going to have control of the field. He's going to be joined by Kensley Smith on the front row with Logan Joyner, Nick Gowan, Brandon Honeycutt, Troy Thomas, Brandon Beckstead, Kirby Wainscott, Kyle Hess, and Nathan Mon. That's your restarting top 10 as those top 10 drivers. You know what? One thing's for sure, two things for certain. When we get to our post-race interviews with our drivers on the podium, all three of them, if they are in any kind of committed relationship, all three of them are going to say, I really want to thank my girlfriend or wife or significant other because you know that it's Saturday night.
I want to shout out my wife because it is her birthday weekend.
I want to shout out your wife to the Pope because I believe that she needs to be sainted.
I mean, anybody's got to put up with me.
I cannot say enough about the work that Alan Bergen does here on Sim Racing Media. I mean, this man, he is tireless. And not only is he tireless, but his wife has to have a fuse at least a mile long.
Well, she's done banned me from the broadcast booth on Tuesday.
Well, that's fine. She's at least set a healthy boundary. And you know the consequences. Either spend time with her on her birthday or death.
I took
those
the
are
day
your
off.
options.
I'm not even going to be at work on Tuesday.
You're a better husband than I ever was.
She's a better wife.
Sim Racing Media, where relationships and marriages come to die. The iRacing.com pace car peels off, and here we come into the Geico restart zone. Matthew Jarrett drops the hammer, and off we go.
Oh, boy. Here we go. Check the grand lap 31. Matthew Jarrett out to a healthy lead. And these guys are going to be cranked up to crazy. Here comes Nick Gowan on the outside. He's got Nationwide on his side. And he had Brandon Honeycutt on his side, too. But Brandon Honeycutt's going to leave him out to dry. Kinsley Smith on the inside line, second there behind Matthew Jarrett. And here, don't look now, kids, here comes that number 8 car out of the Outsiders Racing stable, and that is Troy Thomas. Oh, wow. Hello, Logan Joyner going to jump in line there. And right in front of Troy, and there we go, the 34 car and the 8 car working together.
7 and now 8 cars single file atop the pile here on lap number 32, and they're anchored by the 31 as Nick Gowan here and Nathan Mon going to sit here at the back. In fact, that's the 92. That's 9 cars single file now as Brandon Beckstead starts to draft behind Nick Gowan. Everyone else still kind of trying to do their best to double up, and all of a sudden we can see the 11. Let's go back on here to Jonathan Dominix. You got to be careful that's not Jonathan Dominatrix. Pushing along the 311 of Matt Metler. I wonder what the safe word is.
I got nothing for you on that one.
Wow, the 43 loses a goose behind Dominix. Watch the 43 of Alex Teft here, as he's now wiggled back and broken free from that. He now sits to the high side of the 11.
You know what driver Alex Teft is looking for. He's looking to get up to around that 17th spot where his brother is, Alex Teft. And, you know, Dave, I've mentioned this before. When Alex and Andrew draft together, it's almost like watching Stewart and Junior draft. So they know each other's moves so well that it's like magic when the Teft brothers get to drafting together.
Yeah, you know what? It's always nice when your drafting partner happens to be also your roommate, if you will. Oh, holy crap! Look to the high side here of the 11. Back in about 20th position. Can't see who this is just yet. The camera won't settle down. That's the 18 of Jaden Wicks. Jaden Wicks trying to pick a lane. Driver's getting frustrated. That's going to hold up Matt Metler, as he's now been pushed from the lead all the way back to 22nd. He restarted third 2 cautions ago. Nick Gowan just laid fast time down at 45.82. We're at lap number 34, and these drivers are plowing forward as now the 311 gets himself settled in behind the 81. And I don't see who's being scored as the 81 as they go 3 wide in front of him, shoving the 18 to the high side. Folks, this could be trouble. Wow. Metler really is full send mode.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would be too if I had beast mode underneath the hood. But he's pushing that 81 car with Zach Burke for all of its worth. And, I mean, something's going to give here. Either the beast is going to come out and bite that 81 car, or it's going to go on sailing on by.
Well, watch the 43 here of Alex Teft. He's got to get a run and a good push from Kevin Menapace. I wonder if he hops out of the car if that's Kevin Menopause.
I mean...
I'll win.
Well, look, he's got to have a hot flash.
He's working on one, and so is Matthew Jarrett, who's got Kensley Smith in tow along with Brandon Honeycutt. And I'll tell you what, from my time calling the Racers Elite Cup Series on a Thursday, you know, these are the drivers that I want to see in the rearview mirror. They're going to get it done. They're going to get it done the right way. As we watch the 15 of Kensley Smith be pushed along now by the 13 of Brandon Honeycutt. Troy Thomas not far off, running in 5th position right now, as he's also got Kirby Wainscott. So the Racers Elite regulars, if you will, they're all getting themselves organized. And the cool thing about having this one-off race is that even though, you know, these drivers are on different teams during the week, this now enables them to do some things together. It allows them to sort of feel one another out that you can do later on in the season should you happen to be back here at Daytona. And, you know, it also, to be fair, I mean, you know, you race with the same team week after week. Sometimes it's nice for a little bit of a change of pace, and that's what we're seeing right now with Kensley Smith and Brandon Honeycutt as they work here on lap number 37, just behind race leader Matthew Jarrett.
Yeah, here we are. And so look, right there beyond Nathan Mann, Nick Owen. There's a driver I want to shout out there. Brian LaPratt. Oh. As I can't talk tonight. But here he is, nonetheless, rounding out your top 10. So that's a pretty healthy line there. The first 10 cars are married back there in the single file line. And then you come back a little bit further. That's your second group. With Colin McDonough.
I was going to say that second group is being led by Colin McDonough. He's got Chris Davis in the 74 just behind. And here comes Davis with a run, giving a bump here to the 39. The 68 of Kyle Hess and the 55 of Truth Hoke need to get themselves a little bit tighter. They can start to separate themselves from Andrew Teft, who currently runs in 15th. And, you know, you got to understand that a few moments ago when you were talking about Alex Teft, that Andrew is back in 17th. He's gained 2 spots, and getting out of line is the 74 of Chris Davis. Davis now trying to tuck himself back in as these drivers need to, you know, again, I said it earlier, race radio has got to be lit up saying, get tighter, get tighter, get tighter, because that's how you're going to make the speed that you have to get.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, look, we tell my wife all the time that she ought to qualify for sainthood. So I'm trying to get her in here into the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth just for a minute so that way Dave can have a nice, long conversation with her and tell her that she ought to qualify for
intervention.
Huh?
Conversation, intervention, whatever.
Yeah, intervention. Conversation, like, so nonetheless, right here.
Get on over here, Mrs. Bergen. As we're going to watch the 80, the 15, and the 13 link themselves up, and they're going to bring the 34 of Logan Joyner along. You know, one of the things that I want to highlight here is that Alan Bergen tonight is running the 1s and 2s and everything in between. So he's got control of the cameras. That's what you're watching on the racetrack right now. For me, that's usually my job, but tonight, this is like a vacation for me. This is more fun than anything because I can just set my camera to blimp and I can see so much more from where I am. It's like Alan is here. Yeah, he doesn't know what to do with his hands. That's the universal sign.
Hold on.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
We're getting transpondence from the chief cook and bottle washer in my household. And look, I am. Hold on, Matthew Jarrett
You mean
here
like-
in the lead.
In my house, I'm the chief cook and bottled drinker, emptier, elbow bender.
Of course.
6, 7, 8 cars now here in a row. They're anchored right now by the 31 of Nick Gowan as they're being led by Matthew Jarrett. So 8 in a row, and that line is starting to grow ever so gently. And I think that it stands to reason as they add Brandon Beckstead now to the 9th car in a row. Right now, they're gapping Colin McDonough in that second group by nearly 3.5 seconds. These drivers are moving at such a speed that, first of all, it's only 1 second from first to 8th right now, or first to 9th, I'm sorry. And then 3 seconds, and they're starting to gain. Here it comes. McDonough's starting to make up ground. They just gained 0.3 of a second this last lap.
She will be here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial booth in a moment. She's my photo editor too. Add that to the list of many talents that my wife holds.
Don't give me. That's a loaded weapon you just handed me. Want to watch me end a marriage fast?
Oh, no.
Here's the thing. First of all, behind every sim racer or sim racing broadcaster is generally a woman that's got her arms crossed across her chest, shaking her head in disbelief and not understanding. And I think that it stands to reason that we need to make sure that we do tip our cap to all of the people that support us week in and week out. And speaking of support, right now, getting some more support is Colin McDonough, as he's getting one heck of a push here from Chris Davis, as Davis has now gone into that Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series mode, as he is showing what they do in the Cup Series on a Sunday night.
Dominate and win?
Yes.
Dominate and win and everything in between. Look, I want to know what Chris Davis's I rating is, because I was talking to Matt Mettler off air, before the race started, and I go, look, if you go to SNN, you look up their I rating, I bet you dollars to donuts that there is not an I rating below 3,000.
Oh yeah, there is. 1,000%. I don't know what the lowest is. I'm sure that it was mine last week.
It can't be lower than mine.
I have a 1,500 oval.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm lower than you. Welcome to the bottom split.
I mean, here's the thing. I used to spend a lot of time in the open lobbies and servers, and I mean, holy crap! It is a crapshoot every night. As now we're getting into that witching hour, by the way, here on lap number 46, we're starting to hear people call in for green flag pit stops. Oh my, we're having some fun now. But, when you spend enough time there, eventually you just give up. So that I rating, I would like to say for those people that do a lot more racing in leagues versus being in the open and public forums, don't worry about it. I mean, you're still improving your craft, especially, for instance, I left SNN a year and a half ago. Well, no, I left the Cup Series a little bit more than a year ago and hung up the gloves and came back and finished exactly where I would have a year ago. So does that mean that I'm more skilled? Because, quite frankly, that league is insane. Or does it mean that they've lowered their standards? And obviously we know that league is just insane and I happen to be okay. And that I rating doesn't necessarily reflect my skill level, only because I prefer to be in leagues.
Look, last Sunday, the performance that you had and I was able, so I was calling the Racers Elite Next Gen, or the Gen 6 series, and you were racing, and Dave, we did something on Sim Racing, I'm sure it's been done twice. But I was actually able to do a live look-in on your race while watching this race.
Well, that's impressive.
I'll show you how I did it.
Speaking of how you did it, right now, Matthew Jarrett has control of this race. He's got Kensley Smith, Brandon Honeycutt, Logan Joyner, and Troy Thomas. That's the top 5. And right now, Kensley Smith is using up as much as he can of Matthew Jarrett. I mean, Kensley Smith not even using all of that throttle. If you really start to look for it, you can see that he's giving it a little bit more throttle here in the turn, but then he backs off in the tri-oval. So currently, he's using Matthew Jarrett as his fuel pig.
I mean, you almost have to, and it looks like the 81 car there of Zach Burke is in danger of being swallowed up and going a lot down here, and he'll wisely take that
Well, he's
inside
not
line.
in danger. He's doing it.
Okay, well, okay.
Now, dropping back down in front of him, that top 4, they've got to be able to bring along that 5th car, and that's Troy Thomas in the Ocho. And, you know, that top 3, like we had talked about just a little while ago, now they're starting to step away from the 34 of Logan Joyner. This is all subject to change when you consider the fact that we still have one more green flag pit stop to go before the end of this piece.
Yeah, here we are, lap number 49 out of the 80 that is supposed to be ran here. Matthew Jarrett has run in the Racers Elite here a couple of times over the last couple of seasons, and you know, he's a talent, and I love watching Matthew Jarrett. He's ran in a couple of other series, and that's the thing is, you see these drivers up and down this lineup, Dave, and a lot of these guys, you'll find them on SNN or you know in like Road and Plate that we covered, Roughneck that we covered in the past, Moonshiners, you know, Brandon, you know, like Chris Davis. I've seen him in multiple leagues that I've watched that Sim Racing Media has done over the years.
"30 laps to go here at Daytona International Speedway." Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We want to thank everyone for making us a part of your Saturday evening. We want to thank you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be watching and listening. As right now, it appears that Matthew Jarrett is literally going to be allowed to run this race and lead it. And the interesting thing is, we're going to see, first of all, these 2 drivers behind him, Kensley Smith and Brandon Honeycutt, they're not just hanging back there and they're not saying, "Oh, gee, we don't know if we can make it around him." They're plotting. They are back there just applauding.
Whoa, we got a car. Oh,
we stay green.
Nicholas Sassetto. And there's the caution.
There's the caution.
Let's
see what happened with Facetta.
And he's going to nose it in, and here comes. There it is.
Hey.
Yikes. It wasn't. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So as we cool things down and get things ready to rack, stack, and do it all over again, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media, as we do want you to hear from our friends over at Premier Racing Setups. I'm Dave Regal, he's Alan Bergen, and this is Sim Racing Media. Alan, count me in.
And welcome back to the Racers Elite NASCAR Next Gen Series. Dave, I have a special guest for you.
I see that over here in the corner of my screen. Of course, in the corner of one of my screens. Of course, some of us are fortunate enough to work with 3 of them. And believe me, I could stand to have somewhere around 7 screens. But we want to welcome into the broadcast booth Mrs. Alan Bergen, which is sometimes what we refer to him when she suddenly has to crack the whip. But, you know, first of all, I need to tell you that I genuinely believe that you should be knighted for or nominated for to be a saint, because first off, you have to put up with him every day, and he looks like a fart sleeper is what he is.
Thank you.
The second thing is what we do here at Sim Racing Media, although that to the rest of the world looks completely ridiculous, he does something very important for us here. So we want to thank you for everything that you allow him to do, because Sim Racing Media is generally the place where relationships come to die, and somehow yours survives. How do you explain the anomaly that you guys are?
He does his thing, I do mine.
See, now that is an understanding person. We're going to get ready to go back. Green flag racing. Brandon Honeycutt with control of the field. He's going to look here in the rearview mirror and get a bump from Kensley Smith, and off we go. The green flag waves. Lap number 56 underway. But, you know, the other thing is, I understand that you guys are considering a run to Dover maybe in the reasonably near future. Watch the high line here as Matthew Jarrett gets shoved along by Chris Davis. I mean, all I'm telling you is that if you come to Dover, there's beer. I mean, and it's not that crap from down there. I mean, Alan seems to think that Anheuser-Busch is an acceptable libation, but quite frankly, the least you could do is put lipstick on the pig and tell him to get some class. Folks, we have like it's almost like a Walt Disney here. She's just frozen over there. She doesn't even know what to say. Now, when you say that he does his thing and you do yours, what is your thing that keeps you occupied when he's down there in the basement calling a race?
Usually I do wreaths, centerpieces, and photography editing.
And listen, I've seen your photography editing work, and it's fabulous.
Thank you.
And that's the least flamboyant word that I could use, because it's excellent. But, you know, so do you have your wreaths like on Etsy, or is there a place that folks can find you?
I have it on Facebook.
All right, so go. Oh, Jesus. Oh, we're going to do it. There it goes. Oh, watch the 90. Dean Clavitt is up here as if he's just snorted a line of asphalt. Oh, boy. I just held my collective breath, and somebody else pulled the escape hatch. Jaden Wicks stepping out of line as we go back here to the replay, Alan. Now he's got to do this and assume that he knows what I'm talking about. Watch the 3-wide situation. What in the world? Hey, vey. So, folks, what you need to do is head on. Whoa! Hey, vey. Folks, what we're trying to get you to do is go over there to Facebook and check out Alan's wife's Facebook page. Get yourself a wreath. Support what she does, because we know that you already support what we do here at Sim Racing Media. And we appreciate that, and I know that she would appreciate it as well. Obviously, I assume that you do shipping, because I'm not driving to St. Louis to pick up a wreath.
Yes, I do.
I can justify some really dumb trips, but driving to St. Louis for a wreath, I cannot justify.
Well,
Some of us have to be back to work on Monday.
I'm sure Alan can put the link on for you guys.
Alan will take care of that. I just got the thumbs up from him. You know, the interesting thing is here in the new Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth just outside the city of Brotherly Love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I've done all kinds of dumb stuff with my monitors and now have even more space. So that way, when I start to look for random facts for you folks who are sitting at home, Now I can do it in real time instead of having to write notes down manually. But after that wreck, we're going to go here under caution for the fourth time this evening. Brandon Honeycutt going to have control of the field. Kensley Smith, Kirby Wainscott, Dean Clavitt, Matthew Jarrett, Chris Davis, Andrew Teft, Matt Metler, Jonathan Dominics. And I wonder if that's Dominique. Hang on a second. Let's see where he's from. He's from Halifax. That might be Dominique. We have another Canadian. That's a big thing with Alan Thicke. If any of you folks are familiar with, of course, the Dan Le Batard show with Stu Gatz, Alan Thicke used to be a regular guest on the Dan Le Batard show with Stu Gatz. Hi, Mrs. Allen. As we just saw her see herself out. She's had enough of this BS. Well, Alan, you may have just bought yourself a ride to Pound Town tonight with her.
That's my
He laughs. He laughs, but I'm serious. He may have just bought the ride. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, it's a Saturday. It's right. It's the last day of August. You got to get that monthly ride in.
Look, she was super nervous, but hey, aren't we all? Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we got about 20, a little under 20 to go, 21-ish here. As Brandon Honeycutt doing Brandon Honeycutt things and leading this race right now up 12 spots. Kinsley Smith currently rides in a P2 position. And Colonel Kirby Wainscott, the Colonel, not sporting the finger-looking good paint scheme, but, you know, he's rocking that. And Dave, you know, these guys here, they say when Alan gives you a nickname, you put it on your car.
Well, that's not completely inaccurate. That's for sure. I know that you know, some of the relationships that we've built with many of our drivers and viewers have really gotten cool over the last couple of years. In fact, you know, you've got guys who are using your nicknames for them. My name is on a couple of race cars for reasons I'm not quite sure of, other than they're trying to get themselves some easy TV time. And I made a mistake and turned the TV channel over to a different news station. This was a disaster.
Hashtag fake news.
No. I don't want to say it on the air.
Well, the iRacing.com pace car comes down that back straightaway with the lights out. It's going to be Brandon Honeycutt, Kinsley Smith, Kirby Wainscott, and Dean Clavitt. The top three are all Races Elites regulars, if you will. And, well, we're going to get ready to get cranked up to crazy here on lap number 60. And, you know, Dave, I would love to one time be able to do the 24 hours of Daytona.
Why?
Well,
Why?
Because, look, I'm a nerd and I don't have anything better to do.
For 24 hours, you don't have anything to do, like go to the bathroom or anything?
I mean, look, I guess.
I would need a catheter.
I mean, you don't race the whole time for 24 hours straight.
Yeah, I just don't think I got that one in me.
Check out the Sim Racing Media Facebook page, as we have dabbled into the real world stuff, and there will be more photos to come.
Well, now I can't get my Hulu to change channels at all.
Well, while you're
As the
messing with Hulu,
iRacing.com pace car dips on down pit road, Brandon Honeycutt hits the loud pedal, and we're back underway. 20 laps to go as we cross the start-finish line. Everybody pretty much coming on lap number 53. So 7 laps on most of these tires and these tanks of fuel. The question that we're going to have to really start asking ourselves is, does everybody have enough to get there after stopping on lap 53?
I think we do. Especially if you're Kinsley Smith. He's using Brandon Honeycutt as a fuel pig right now.
I think what's most scary at that point is whether or not, we go green, white checker. If we have to go to NASCAR overtime, is there enough fuel in the tank? I know me personally, when I'm behind the wheel, that auto fuel button, I'm usually going +5 on. That way I've got a little bit extra in the tank. It might make the car a little heavier. But speaking of car being heavier, all of a sudden, Matt Mettler up into 8th position. He's waiting for a shove here from the 39 of Colin McDonough. And Mettler has just quietly worked his way up here. Do you notice that?
I do.
I don't want to talk about him too long because that's usually when bad things happen to a race car driver for me.
Well, usually bad things happen to me when... Never mind.
Mettler and I had an incident last week. Because it was 2 weeks ago that... was it 2 weeks ago?
I think it was 2 weeks
It
ago.
was last week. No, it was last weekend. But it was 2 weeks ago that Mettler and I had an incident where we started having to apologize to drivers in the SNN Cup League. Because no matter where I was on the racetrack with a camera, and no matter who we were talking about, it just completely annihilated their car. We were laughing, but at the same time, inside we're crying. Because no matter who we could have talked about the most irrelevant, and we're under caution again.
And the caution...
Now, the first name that I heard on race radio was Jesus Christ, and I don't see him on our leaderboard.
Oh.
As we take a look here at Joel Brooks. Oh. It was such a shunda. You should never buy Gribbinus from a Moyle. It's so chewy.
Look, we're going to break the fourth wall here for just a second. And it's going to run this back to about right. And go. Looks like Troy Thomas is involved in that. Got the tail end. Oh. Anybody know the name of a good chiropractor? Because I got a feeling that Terry Finnels is going to need it. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, 17 laps to go. Brandon Honeycutt still leads along with Kinsley Smith and Colonel Kirby Wayne Scott. Matthew Jarrett, former full-time driver here in the Racers Elite Series, family of racing, continues to be mired in that third. So if you notice something, the first car in line, Brandon Honeycutt up 12 spots. Kinsley Smith up 21. Colonel Kirby Wayne Scott up 25. And Matthew Jarrett up 22. And then you come all the way down here to 10th where Colin McDonough is up 20 spots. And Richard Odie is up 23 spots from where he started from. So a large field tonight, a great turnout, and we're having a whole lot of fun here.
This just in from the newswire. And I'm trying to find where these were. But cinnamon and several types of cinnamon have been recalled here in the U.S. for elevated lead levels.
Well, they didn't come out of the small Missouri town of Herculaneum, where lead is plentiful.
I'm trying to figure it out. El Cerrador cinnamon. If you use El Cerrador, well, that's not helpful. Thanks, Newsweek. Useless. Positively useless. I'm guessing this is There we go. Also, El Chilar, Markham Swad, Supreme Tradition, Compañía Indoor, something or other, ALB Flavor, Pazara Spice Class, and La Frontera.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want a French toast with cinnamon on them, you are SOL.
Well, just check your label.
Colonel Kirby Wainscott still mired in that third position right now. Matt Metler, yeah, you pointed out earlier that he quietly has worked himself into the top 10. I think I would want to be where Matt's at, real, if you stop and think about it, because, well, if things happen up in the front, you got time to react.
Check. I do not want to create an account. I hit a paywall. Asley cinnamon powder comes in a plastic bag with lot number DDDLUS and UPC number something. The products, see, now this could affect you. The products were distributed through retail stores in 5 states: Minnesota, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, and Ohio.
I don't have any cinnamon products in my house.
Are you sure? You don't have a bottle of cinnamon in the cupboard?
I don't.
So you just eat bland food then?
Oh, no.
You're so Caucasian.
I go to the wonderful Quick Trip, and not quick as in KWIK. I go to QT.
Yeah, we've seen them. Still not a Wawa.
I would love to go to Wawa, but I may travel down. I would love to travel to Joplin and go to Buc-ee's.
So my mom had my oldest son at a Buc-ee's somewhere in South Carolina, and apparently it is just incredible. They're tourist destinations.
We have a Wally's here in St. Louis.
No idea what a Wally's is.
It's kind of like a Buc-ee's. It's like a cheap knockoff.
Fair enough. So basically it's the Great Value brand of gas stations.
Pretty much. And
All
right now, what isn't a cheap value brand of racing right now is Brendan Honeycutt and Kinsley Smith bringing the field down to the green flag 15 laps ago. We are racing here in Daytona, and these guys are going to get cranked up in 14 laps to go.
14 laps to go, and Brandon Honeycutt gets a push from Kinsley Smith, drawing in his Colonel Kirby Wainscott, getting a shove from the 90 of Dean Clavitt. Hanging back here on his own is Matt Metler, as he's on the high side behind Chris Davis and Matthew Jarrett. And these drivers are going to be the ones we have to watch for the next 14 laps. If they can maintain this linkage, as now they open the door, here comes the 98 of Andrew Teft leading a charge on the low side. If Teft wants to be able to get up there to where the 13 is, he's going to have to start challenging that high line. I don't know if Metler... There it is. There's the run. Here it comes on the low side as they are bumping and banging one another. It almost looks like an accordion, everybody's favorite instrument.
Especially
as now we start to see... Well, I mean, you can always tune in, download the 105.5 WMGH app, and you can check out Polka Joe tomorrow. He will be on the air from 10 to noon. 10 to 1. I lied. 10 to 1. Whoa! Oh no! Oh!
Meller's involved. Oh, he's got that repair though.
Two cars cannot occupy the same space at the same time, and Metler just bought the big one and ate wall.
Oh no! Tough break for Matt Metler.
Let's watch this again. Now, the interesting thing here is that Metler thought that he was clear of the 13. He really did, and he was waiting for the call to clear, and he didn't want to get hung out on the high side, and now most of the field is wrecked.
Oh, what a tough break. I'm certain.
Do they have a fast repair tonight?
They do. They got 2 of them.
Might be time to use it, Matt.
Here we go. And it's one of those racing deals. Not clear. Hello. Hey. Oh. And. Oh, no. It was the right place at the wrong time. Yes.
Mettler definitely used his fast repairs. He's already back out on the racetrack running in 21st position. That does keep him on the lead lap, so he was able to limp it back to pit road. Now the question is, with 12 to go, can Mettler get back up into contention after now he's going to wind up restarting in 20th?
I think he can. 12 laps at Daytona. Look, he's got
eternity. 12 laps at Daytona is longer than the 2-minute warning in football or 60 seconds left in basketball.
You know, talking about, when we came back from the break and you was talking to my wife, I forgot to tell you the story. So the other morning, my wife has been working 10-hour days at the pepper spray factory. Sabre, their products are everywhere, right? And by the time Friday and Thursday rolls around, the week has caught up to her. And so I'm waking her up, I said, time to get up, time to go to work. And she's just laying there. So I break out my handy dandy cell phone. I go on YouTube and I get a rooster sound. And I put it right in her ear on full blast, and we cock-a-doodle-doo.
You've got to be kidding me. Please tell me you're joking.
That's the kind of guy that I am.
I can't believe she hasn't killed you yet. If you did that to me, I would be in jail.
Oh, she was like, look, if she wouldn't catch an assault charge, I probably had a black eye.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Look, if I ever go on a show and I got a black eye, the first question out of Dave Regal's mind is, "What did you do?"
No, it'll be, how many times did she tell you?
What?
Oh, for God's sake!
Hey, look, she's a saint. I look, she is the one that I tell her all the time. I said, look, we're never getting divorced because one, there is no one else on the face of God's green earth that'll put up with me.
Well, that's true.
And after 10 years, she goes, she goes, you still ain't left yet?
That's a new one.
Well, I kind of wonder that too. So, like, here at Sim Racing Media, I kind of just showed up one day and, well, I keep coming back.
At this point, now we know that she just wants you to leave her alone and don't touch the wreaths.
Exactly. Hey, she does great work, though, too. And we will link that in our description or in the comments. So if you want to enter the market for wreaths, she can custom make them. Dave, she can even make you a Phillies wreath that hang on your door.
You have my attention. And football season's, you know what? No, I would never put a Cowboys wreath on my door. My house may burn.
You know, I made a joke at work. One of my coworkers had a Dallas Cowboys hat on. I said, you know, they ought to rename themselves to the Hurricanes. And he goes, well, why is that? I said, they're exciting at first, but it all ends in disaster.
Fairly accurate. I mean, you know, this is one of the best times of the sports year.
Yes. Yes. Where else? And you can watch every sport on TV in the fall. You got baseball, NASCAR, you got hockey season coming up. Football season starts the regular season tomorrow or next Sunday.
I mean, you're not wrong at all. In fact, let's go over here to the NCAA football scores. Right now, New Mexico and Arizona are knotted up at 14. They're in the first quarter. Notre Dame beats Texas A&M 23-13. Georgia beats Clemson 34-3. Oregon bests Idaho 24-14. That's like a preseason game in and of itself. Alabama, even without Nick Saban, continues to roll. Roll Tide 63-0. Alabama versus Western Kentucky.
I mean, look, it's Western Kentucky, for crying out loud.
I mean, Penn State beat the West Virginia Mountaineers 34-12.
I mean, Missouri beat. I wouldn't even say beat. That was just total domination of Murray State.
The U beats the Florida Gators 41-17.
Well, right now, as we're saying that, Chris Davis is beating the pants off of Matthew Jarrett up here in the front.
Watch back there. Watch 78 of Richard Ode.
No.
Everybody's scrambling for cover.
No. Oh. And that would be caution number 7. And, Matt Mettler's involved.
I'm looking for him.
While you're looking for him, I got the replay up and...
Mettler looks like he's unscathed.
Right there at the end, Nathan Mann gets him.
You know, tomorrow is the last Sunday that we'll have without the NFL until February.
Isn't that such a great thing? Hey, look, Friday night, though. Friday night, you got Green Bay on Peacock.
Against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
Well, of course, this week we want to give everybody a little preview here to the NFL schedule. Chiefs going to host the Ravens on Thursday night on NBC and Peacock. Then exclusively on Peacock, the Philadelphia Eagles. That'll boost everybody $6 a month. They're going to host the Green Bay Packers. Then Sunday, your 1 o'clock games are Steelers at the Falcons, Bills hosting the Cardinals, Bears hosting the Titans. The Patriots travel to Cincinnati. The Texans and the Colts in an AFC South matchup. 1 o'clock once again is the Jaguars and the Dolphins, Panthers, Saints, Giants and Vikings, Charger, and then we get into the 4 o'clock games. And here's the one that I'm waiting for. Raiders go to see the Chargers in Los Angeles. The Seahawks host the Broncos. And for reasons unknown, the Browns are hosting the Cowboys. Also at 4:25, the Commanders are going to visit the Buccaneers down in Florida. And then our first Sunday night football game on NBC and Peacock going to be the Lions hosting the LA Rams. And Monday night, usually Monday night's a doubleheader, but this year not so much, as the Monday night during week 1 is usually a doubleheader, but this year it's going to be the 49ers hosting the New York Jets.
I'm going to put my money on the Niners, that one.
Yeah.
I don't have
They're
much,
in Santa Clara.
Look, I don't have much faith in Brett Favre, or not Brett Favre, but Aaron Rodgers and the Jets.
I'm curious. I mean, last year Aaron Rodgers couldn't get away from the first play.
I mean, Aaron
Lots
Rodgers'
to go
season
here at
was
Daytona.
over. His season was over before it even got started.
Realistically, yeah. First, I have to get through this pesky ad on ESPN. In case I want firmer looking skin. I don't even want to tell you what this stuff looks like. If you want firmer looking skin, you can drizzle this whitish cream on your face.
Chris Davis doing what Chris Davis does. And Dave, this is looking more and more like Sunday Night NASCAR crosses over to Saturday.
Yeah, Chris Davis is going to lead this race here with 6 laps to go as we work our way back around behind the iRacing.com pace car. He's going to be followed by Matthew Jarrett, Kirby Wainscott, Dean Clavitt, Jaden Wicks, Alex Teft, Truth Hoke, Logan Joyner, Nick Gowan, and Stephen Hines. Running in 14th position is Matt Metler, Troy Thomas in 12th, Kensley Smith way back in 19th with Brandon Honeycutt in 20th.
Yikes. I'm so glad that Matt Metler had that second trash repair. Now, if he could just not be involved in any more crashes, that'd be great. Brandon Bike says Metler Mania, brother.
I'm all over it.
Well, I'm not allowed to spoil any WWE results for Jordan Brockell, who was just...
They were spoiled the moment that they wrote the script.
Lights are out on the aracing.com page card. And
You realize that the WWE is nothing but a soap opera in your underwear, right?
look, I knew that. So when I was growing up, we were watching videos on the secrets of wrestling.
The day I found out wrestling was fake was the day I stopped watching it. I was 12.
Now look, don't tell Bubba that it's fake.
Speaking of which, Bubba Wallace netted himself a pole position today at Darlington.
I love it.
I am so excited to see. I really hope one of these days is the day. As Chris Davis leads us into turn number 3 behind the iRacing.com pace car, they're racked and stacked double file as we go past that big Daytona logo here between 3 and 4. As we get ready to roll into turn number 4, drivers are going to tighten themselves up. When we go back green flag racing, it'll be 4 laps to go here. Chris Davis, Matthew Jarrett, Kirby Wainscott, that's your top 3. And that top 3 will definitely be different before the end of this race. Here comes Matt Metler creeping just behind his outside row partner, Kevin Menopause. As Chris Davis comes into the Geico restart zone, he hits the loud pedal, and here we go, 4 to go at Daytona International Speedway.
And 4 laps to go. Chris Davis gets the whole shot, and he's going to bring Colonel Kirby Wainscott right along with him. Here on the outside, here comes Matthew Jarrett, and he's got Dean Claffett with him.
74 of Chris Davis getting a good push from Kirby Wainscott, and now swinging to the high side is Jordan Wicks in the 18. He's going to try to take some of that momentum and energy. Whoa, watch the 34 cutting the nose off of the 31 of Nick Gowan. And hanging back just a little bit further is Matt Metler. And here they go. They're wrecking. Caution is out.
Matt's involved.
And there's Metler for the third one. Well, I give up.
Dave Regal goes, I'm done here. You know what? Oh my goodness.
It's just a disappointing evening for so many of these drivers. I mean, you know, especially when you've got 3 to go. That's going to trigger NASCAR overtime. I already talked about that a little bit ago. You know, the thing is, if you're going to get taken out, it's almost better to get taken out early in the race, because at least that way you've got some of your night left to do something else. When you've already worked yourself 78 laps and you get taken out on 77, I mean, you feel like now you've wasted your entire evening.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm sure Matt Metler, as you always put it, is madder than the Keebler Elf getting demoted to Fudgebacker.
I would never accuse Metler of being that elf being a fudge packer.
Oh. My better half is off to bed.
He was expecting you to be done by now.
Well, True. Nonetheless, we're going to go overtime here with the Racing Elite Cup Series, and the way this will work is we'll go green flag on 2 laps to go. We'll race all the way back around, and if we take the white flag, whatever happens after that is what happens after that. If we go caution, we will re-rack it and re-stack it and try it once more. But I tell you what, Dave, Chris Davis is hoping that doesn't happen.
No, Chris Davis wants this to end nice and clean here as he, Jaden Wicks, Kirby Wainscott, Truth Hoke, and Matt Jarrett, your top 5, are going to have control of the field. And, sometimes in these situations, especially when we go back green flag racing, that's when it sometimes even comes from that 10th place car, which right now belongs to Menapace. And folks, just to let you know what happens here in NASCAR overtime, when we go back green flag racing, the green flag will fly and we'll have 2 laps to go. We will race around and see if we can get to the white flag. If the white flag flies, we will race back to checkers. If the caution should come out between the green and the white flag waving, we will rack them, stack them, and do it all over again. Once again, when we get past that white flag, the next flag will finish the race, whether that flag is yellow or checkered.
Dave, guess what? While we're waiting for these guys to get lined back up, it is tangent time. Dave, let's talk about Parker Ratzlaff and the backlash that he's been receiving from Chevrolet and RCR.
I've gotten to know Parker over the last couple of months as he's been on a winning streak in our Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, I encourage everyone, if you want to see Parker Retzlaff here in iRacing World, you can check us out on a Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And it is the Parker Retzlaff. And let me tell you, Parker is not this vicious monster that he's been painted to be by the media. And I even get a chance to talk with Taylor Kitchen, who's a NASCAR insider. And she's, of course, got a page over on TikTok. And I got a chance to talk with Taylor Kitchen for a little while about it. And she agrees with me that he is not this monster. She doesn't have the relationship with him that I do. But I can absolutely guarantee you that Parker didn't do anything malicious. And you know what? He didn't win the race. It's not like he dumped somebody, like Austin Dillon did. He was trying to help someone, and technically he was also trying to help himself. It just wound up helping somebody else better than it helped him.
Gotta love it. Hey, that's what we do. It's like therapy here in the Tony Scherpasso Memorial Studio. Nonetheless, 3 laps to go, and the lights are out on the iRacing.com pace car, and we're going to get ready to go. Overtime racing. Truth Hoke mired in that 4th position on the outside line, and he's got Nick Gowan right behind him. But Chris Davis and Jaden Wicks, your top 2, that'll be your restart as we work our way through that turns 3-4 complex.
Chris Davis and Jaden Wicks going to have control of the field. Everybody watching the rear bumper of Chris Davis of Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series fame. You can check him out tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern right here on Sim Racing Media as I'll be making my return to the broadcast booth once again. As we see the iRacing.com pace car dip on down pit road. Here we come through the Geico restart zone. They wind them up one final time. NASCAR overtime is underway. Chris Davis crosses the start-finish line. He's going to bring along Colonel Kirby Wainscott, and that's going to cause the 18 of Jaden Wicks to drop down to that inside line. It looks like maybe running away for the time being is going to be Davis and Wainscott, but watch that high line. Here comes the 55 of Truth Hoke, the double nickel being pushed along by the 31, and
Kirby.
wow, throwing the block is Kirby Wainscott. He nearly just avoided disaster, and that forces them to go 3 wide. Here comes the 31 of Nick Gowan as Gowan gets turned by the 55, and we're going to go under caution. We stay green.
Nope, there it is.
Never mind, just kidding. 9th caution of the evening. Oh, God.
Matt does a little landscaping, but he survives.
He's like the cat with 9 lives.
He's like the cardiac Matt Metler. Here we go.
Cardiac Metler. Still running in 10th position.
How? This is like some Chris Angel stuff going on right now.
He may not have needed one of his fast repairs, and he may have had one in his pocket.
Did he sell his soul to the devil?
Metler definitely had to clean out his shorts after that one.
I think Matt has sold his soul to the devil because he is still.
I didn't know
intent.
Oprah was watching this race.
Well, there's Truth Hoke, and
I'm watching this replay here on my screen. Metler squeezes by, he got a little bit of a nudge from Andrew Teft. Other than that, he's just got to get some grass from the undercarriage.
Well, here we go again. We're going to try it one more time. I wonder if we got time.
Oh, we've got time.
Okay. I gotta know who Matt Metler paid off to be still in the running. Matt, it's Alan and Dave in the broadcast booth. You got us?
I got you loud and clear, brother.
Look, man, you done landscaped. You done escaped. How many lives and who did you pay off to be still in the top 10 with 3 to go?
I'm still trying to figure this one out myself, man. I'm just racing my guts out, giving it everything I have. You know, I feel horrible. I thought I was clear of Honeycutt there before all this other stuff started. I'm only on a single monitor, and I wrecked the entire field. So apologize to everyone for that. But just racing my heart out right now, man. I got Brandon Bikey and Chris Davis with me in the chat, and I just want to run good with these guys, man. You know, we watch these guys just kick ass everywhere we watch them when we broadcast, and I'm just giving it up my all and see how we end up.
I just got to know, how stained is your fire suit after that?
Oh, it's horrible. I got chunks of corn, bits of chicken. It's gonna be like a all day event at the dry cleaners, buddy.
Listen, I watched that, and you got down, and you did the right thing. You got out of the way as best you could. Really, it was almost like you pulled something out of the Chris Claude playbook. And all of a sudden, I saw you get clipped, and I thought, oh my. That's the one where, of course, I have a butt kicker, so I know if I would have felt the butt kicker engage at that point, I probably would have crapped in my pants.
I don't want to be too graphic, but something wrong.
You don't want to be too graphic, but we know that there's corn and chicken there. Yeah, don't be too graphic. We really need to work on, what is or is not graphic.
Well, I mean, it could be worse. He could be like, well, Grandma's biscuits.
There's nothing worse.
Nah, unfortunately, there's no Popeyes biscuits at the moment.
Oh, God, I love Popeyes biscuits. And the rice and beans. Hey.
Yeah, well, thank God we didn't have that before Explodo del Toro.
Yeah, we like to call that particular move colon blow. Well, listen, buddy, you're getting ready to come back green flag racing in about a half a lap. Obviously, you're in full send mode, so we're going to get out of your ear here. But good luck and bring one home for us.
I'm trying, man. I appreciate you guys checking in with me and see what we got here.
10-4. We'll see you on the other side.
Yes, sir.
Folks, we want to thank Matt Medler for his time. Of course, you can check him and I out tomorrow night in the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, as we have been broadcast partners for just a little bit more than a year. And, of course, I don't want to talk about it. We're 5 days away, and I can't.
Yeah, that's true.
let's put it this way. We sit here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, and the last person to work with Tony Trapasso before his passing last September 5th was Matt Medler. And I envy him because I miss my friend. And you know what? Whether I miss my friend or not, we're getting ready to come back into the Geico Restart Zone. NASCAR Overtime engaged, and here we go as Chris Davis drops the hammer, and he's going to bring along Jaden Wicks in tow. We come through the tri-oval, and everybody gets out nice and safe. Let's keep an eye here on what's going to happen ahead of everybody. As we can see now, the deuce of Stephen Hins is going to slide down. Contact between the 10 and the 13. The 28 sliding back, and here comes the 311 of Matt Medler. This is going to be the time. We just talked to him on the air. Here comes Kirby Wainscott to the outside. This may have been too soon, as that's going to shuffle the deuce back. That's not Dalton Mobley. That's the deuce of Stephen Hines, not the ketchup. And it's Davis, Wicks, and Honeycutt coming out of turn 4 back to the chat. Oh, no. Did we make it? 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 Did we make it?
Yes.
We stay green.
We stay green.
We stay green. We stay green.
Metler's fourth.
I hear engines popping. Matt Metler runs in 5th now. Metler makes contact with the 92. The checkered flag is out. The field may have been frozen. The caution may be out. This race is going to belong to Chris Davis or Jaden Wicks, as Jaden Wicks is now looking to the rear bumper of the 74. They're racing back to the checkered flag. They're going to, oh, God. Oh, my God. This isn't over yet. Watch them go. Here comes the 18 to the start-finish line, the 90 to the outside. Oh! Dean Clavitt with the surprise. Matt Metler finishes in 5th, but Dean Clavitt with the surprise finish here as the checkered flag waves. He's got Jaden Wicks in 2nd and Matthew Jarrett in 3rd. Chris Davis in 4th, and Matt Metler rounds out your top 5.
Oh, man. What a finish. Dave, I wanted that lead Diffie moment for you, and I could say, Dave, your little buddy has done it.
Just that close.
Yes. Oh, goodness gracious. Nonetheless, Dean Clavitt is going to burn it down here on the front straightaway, winning 80 laps, and who would have thought? But Matt Metler having a good run here, finishing the 5th position. So we're going to go ahead and start getting our drivers up to the broadcast booth here. So here is Jaden Wicks. Well, Dave, we have our podium up here in the waiting room, and we'll start off with Dean Clavitt, and I believe you have him with you.
Hey, Dean, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I'm here.
Man, listen, what a finish to that race. I mean, Daytona always produces these exciting nights, and you wind up being the victor after this one. How does that feel to go ahead and get ready to burn it down at the start-finish line?
Feels great. I don't win much, honestly. So I'm happy to win this one. That was a great battle to the line there with the 18 and 74. So I'm I'm glad they kept it clean and whatnot. So big shout out to them. And oh my goodness, yeah, we got a win.
Look, you get a win. You manage to bring home the checkered flag, and I mean, this is after starting in 21st, and there's been all kinds of mayhem tonight. It wasn't a caution festival, but there were definitely enough cautions to keep you on your toes. How did you get through all of that mayhem to wind up in victory lane?
I don't know. I I just closed my eyes and sent it. Really.
It's kind of like prom night in 2007 for me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a great run. Like I said, we restarted 12th there, and I'm happy that I somehow avoided that last lap, not the last lap wreck, but the wreck before coming to the white flag. I don't know how I missed that. Yeah, so and just got shout out Matt Jarrett too, because if he didn't back up a little bit there at the end, we wouldn't have got that big run on them. And yeah, so I'm happy he came home with third. So, oh boy, I was not planning on running this race, but Richard Odie told me to run it, so I was like, okay, why not? And here I am.
Well, I guess then when we ask you in a few moments here, Richard Odie's going to get a little bit of credit there for dragging you off the couch and into the racing rig for the evening. Congratulations on the win. And speaking of which, before we do get you out of here, who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done tonight on the 90 car?
Like I said, I just got to shout out Richard Odie. He helped me out. I tried helping me out there at the end, but he got wrecked in the process, unfortunately. Yeah, just got to thank everybody here for hosting this and having a good nice finish at the end. And got to shout out Angel Santiago too. He didn't want to broadcast this race, so you should have now, buddy.
He definitely should have, and unfortunately you had to get me instead, which I do apologize for not being Angel, but at the same time,
you're a little bit better. It's okay.
Don't tell him that. Oh my. He's going to wind up punching me right in the throat when we get to Miami together in a couple of weeks. But listen, congratulations, and hopefully we see you again here on the racetrack.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. All right, Alan, back up to you.
And wow, as we get these guys, as we get him down to the waiting room, and second place, Jaden Wicks. First off, what a second place run he had, and second, take us through that restart there on that last checkered, the green white checkered restart.
Yeah, well, first off, I'd like to congratulate Dean on his win. It was a close one. Heartbreak, of course, but on the restart, I just thought sticking on the bottom was the best choice, and then trying to get a run coming out of 3 and 4 was doing good. But then I saw the wreck happen, and I thought it was just going to be me and the 74 going to the line, but I saw a big run coming off the high side from the wreck of 2 cars, and I was like, I'm going to go up here and block, try to get a bump. I got a big run, but obviously not good enough, and Dean beat me to the line. Heartbreak, of course, but it's racing.
Yeah, hey, look, it's Daytona. It's a bite. We kind of had a feeling that was coming, and we didn't know what was going to happen there on that second green white checkered start. But nonetheless, you finished P3. You started, you finished 13 spots ahead where you started. What was the strategy all night and to get up here, just put yourself in position to at least be on the podium?
It was all right. My whole strategy was just to lay back to the last 20 laps and pretty much survive. And last 30 to go, I decided to go all in, and a big wreck happened and put me up in ninth.
All right. Well, before we get you out of here, is there anybody you'd like to help to help get you here tonight?
I like to thank Terry Fennell. He was number 50. He got wrecked out early, but that was my teammate, and I mean he got wrecked out late, but I wish he could have made it to the end. But other than that, nobody else. It was a good race, and I'd like to thank what's his name, Andrew, for hosting it. And thank y'all for broadcasting.
All right, Jaden. Well, once again, congratulations on that second place finish, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least on our podium tonight, driver of the number 80, it's Matthew Jarrett. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys.
Well, obviously, it's a happy night up in Edmonston because you managed to get yourself in a third position. You qualified in 10th. You led for quite a long time. We thought that you had a real shot here at the end, but unfortunately, Daytona did what Daytona does, and you wind up third. How are you feeling tonight as you cool things down here in the 90?
I'm feeling really good. Right before that last caution before the green white.
Oh, geez, I'm sorry. I had the 90 pulled up. I'm sorry, Fort Walton Beach. My God.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, my headset died, so I had to play off my monitor on my right side. So that was fun the last few laps.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the things that I've always considered whether or not I wanted the wireless headset, and that's the fear that I've always had, that it wouldn't last throughout the race.
Yeah, well, that fear came true tonight. I was not expecting that, but I'm just glad I was able to keep it out of everybody's way and just finish the race. I'm super happy with a third.
Yeah, I mean, third in a race like this on a Saturday night is still a lot to hang your hat on. I mean, you know, I'd say that we get ready for another week, but we don't. You know, this is just kind of a one-off deal. It's a special race for the Racers Elite Next-Gen cars. But, you know, at the same time, you were out there on the racetrack with some really powerful drivers. How did that feel, you know, to be around some of these guys who race together all the time? And then, of course, you know, yours is a name that I don't recognize from our regular Cup Series on a Thursday.
Yeah, I haven't raced next to much with these guys. I used to do Xfinity, but job happens, and I've been super busy and haven't been able to do the seasons. So I'm hoping my job will slow down a little bit in the winter, and I can jump back in with these guys.
All right, brother. Well, listen, congratulations on the P3 finish. Before we get you out of here, who do you need to thank and who do you need to shout out for getting it done here on the 80 team?
I just got to thank my wife for sitting here and let me do this every night when I get a chance to, when our busy schedule allows us.
All right, brother. Listen, congratulations, and we'll see you again.
All right, man. Thank you. Thank y'all again for the broadcast.
Always. We appreciate the time. As that, of course, the voice of Matthew Jarrett out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. I do want to apologize for botching that one earlier. But, Alan, what a great race we saw tonight. We saw just about anything you could here. And thanks to the fast repairs, it kept a lot of drivers out on track.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, here's the thing. Daytona does what Daytona does. And Daytona definitely brought it some highs, some lows, and everything in between. But before we get out of here, Dave, we got one little last piece of business to take care of, and that is the results here as 34 cars signed in, took time, and Dean Clavitt takes the win, followed by Jaden Wicks and Matthew Jarrett. Chris Davis, from a regular out of the SNN Stacy Strong Cup Series, finishes fourth, and rounding out the top five is Mr. Matt Metler. Nathan Mon finishes sixth. Seventh will go to Stephen Hines. The Chief Cook and Bottle Washer here at the Racers Elite, Andrew Dutch will finish eighth. Rounding out the ninth position will be Nick Gowan. Troy Thomas will finish 10th, and True Toke will finish 11th. Colonel Kirby Wayne Scott will bring it home P12. Randy Sprouse will bring it home 13th. 14th, the other half of the Tough Brothers, Alex Tough. 15th will be Kevin Minnespace. 16th will go to Brandon Beckstead. Brandon Honeycutt, the Battle of the Brandons, will finish 17th. Colin McDonough will finish 18th. 19th will go to Logan Joyner. And rounding out your top 20 will be Kinsley Smith.
Finishing in 21st is Nathan Strauss. He's followed by Richard Odie in 22nd. 23rd goes home with Zach Burke as Brian LaPratte comes home in 25th. 24th. 25th is Jordan Clayton, while 26th is Jonathan Domini. Kyle Hess in 27th, and Terry Fennell, he finishes in 28th. 29th goes to Joel Brooks, while Nicholas Falsetta rounds out your top 30. Chris Evans and Pete Polini finish 31st and 32nd, while Noah Hamilton finishes in 33rd. 34th, the last driver to take the green flag was TJ Elaine. He only gets 20.01 laps in tonight, but somebody had to do it, and unfortunately it was him. But Alan, what a great night here in the Racers Elite Series. Of course, we're always excited when we get these special event races. because for a lot of these guys, this is their special night out. And I'm glad that we were able to bring it home to everybody here on YouTube.com. So for myself, Dave Regal, and my esteemed broadcast partner, Mr. Alan Bergen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And tomorrow and every day as you go down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.